Hello and welcome to the What's Current podcast, where we discuss all things electrical. On the show today, we've got myself, Andrew Duffin, Technical Commercial Engineer at NAPIT. I've got my co-host, Steve Humphreys, Technical Commercial Engineer. And I'm delighted to say we're joined by Carly Wheeler and Kelly Byrne. How are you both?
Very good, thank you.
So if you don't mind kicking off the show, Carly and Kelly, if you could give our listeners an overview of your background and your roles at ECN magazine and ECN itself.
Of course. So I'm Sales Director at All Things Media, and my primary role is selling advertising across ECN magazine, our website, weekly newsletter and supplements. Additionally, I also oversee our two other titles, Essential Install magazine, which serves the smart home AV automation sector, and Data Centre and Network News, which caters for the data centre industry. We've got two really good full-time sales staff on those titles, but I'm just there to obviously assist and help where needed. Alongside Carly, I also organise the ECN Awards, now in its third year. I'm responsible for selling sponsorships, managing table sales, booking the talent and just overseeing the event in general. It really is our passion project. I mean, Carly and I love bringing the industry together for a night of sort of celebration, networking and just sort of pure joy, really. With over 20 years experience in B2B sales across various markets, I can honestly say that the electrical industry is my favourite. I mean, the passion and collaboration and constant innovation of products, etc., just makes it really exciting sort of industry to be in. So yeah, that's me.
I'm Carly, I'm the group editor, so I'm responsible for all the editorial side of the magazine, supported by our brilliant deputy editor, Simon. My day-to-day role is compiling the magazine, the newsletter, and I'm also responsible for social media for the magazine too. Then there's my role at the ECN Awards, which is anything to do with the judging process and also the promotion of the awards. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you will definitely see me shouting about the awards at every opportunity that I get.
Yeah.
I've worked in B2B magazines for my whole career, so 23 years in a variety of different industries, including transport and commercial fishing. But I'm very happily settled now in the electrical industry.
That's really nice to hear that you fell in love with the electrical industry. Obviously, me and Andy are passionate about it as well. So Kelly and Carly, you both mentioned the ECN Awards in your introduction, and me and Andy have had the privilege of attending last year's award. They're just fantastic from our point of view. Just what an absolute awesome night. The venue, you know, the group we had on, 90s legends. Was it 90s or noughties? Yeah,
90.
E17 for our listeners out there. E17 in the coats. Not all the original lineup, but it was awesome, fantastic. So
it felt like Christmas, didn't it, when they came on?
Oh yeah. It just feels like Christmas. A lot of dancing, a few beverages, but yeah, well done to you guys for organising that. Now, apart from us lot going on about to everyone how much fun we have, tell us a little bit about the actual the awards and the ethos of it, and what's their place in the electrical industry and its importance.
Well, we launched the awards in 2023 just to celebrate the industry and to give something back, to give recognition to the companies, individuals, products that really deserve it. We grouped the awards into companies, projects, sustainable products, training. Oh, I've messed that up, sorry.
Products is part of the headline sponsorship, then sustainable products, projects, training and companies, Yeah,
so we have about 25 awards, and last year we also introduced a special recognition award, which was a real highlight for myself and Kelly to present that to Mark Allison. It was, you know, it was a real honour to be able to do that. So it's just about giving back to the industry. Yes, it's a fun night, but also it's celebrating and recognising those that really deserve it.
Yeah,
I think that's the key word, isn't it? Celebrating the industry and the people that work within it, because sometimes we've probably got a bad rep and etc. But actually, there's a lot of good work that goes on in the industry, and we should celebrate it with the contractors and the manufacturers working within that industry.
Yeah, I think it's a shame when you say it's a bad rep, because there's so many people in the industry that are making it more safe, you know, efficient, secure. There's more people concentrating on that and making it good and safer and better place to be than there isn't. So, you know, I think it's good for those companies to be recognised for the achievements and their constant innovation, trying to make things safer and better for everyone.
Mm.
Yeah. So, okay. So, in your conversations with industry professionals, what are the most like common challenges contractors face today, and what advice can you give them, if any?
I'd say that the most common challenge that we see is the skills gap. It's, it's talked about all the time. As experienced electrical contractors get older and eventually retire, the industry is struggling to find qualified contractors to take on the increasing volume of work. The common consensus seems to be that apprenticeships hold the key to resolving the issue, but it's encouraging people to start and complete an apprenticeship. That's the issue. So the exposure in schools needs to be increased so that students are aware that apprenticeships are a real option for them. And government incentives encouraging employers to hire and train apprentices would help, along with highlighting the career opportunities and benefits that apprenticeships can bring.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. Absolutely, because me and Andy are from a teaching background, both worked in training centres and colleges, and one of the things we see is we see lots of good figures based on starts on apprenticeships, maybe for 16 to 19-year-olds and older. But if we look at the school leaver market, what's concerned is the drop-off rates that we've noticed recently. So if we're going to meet this carbon neutral agenda, which keeps shifting and shifting and shifting, first we need to get the electricians in place and then turn them into renewable engineers, which takes time as well. So we need to think out the box, I think, a little bit with that from my experience. And maybe the apprenticeship route isn't always the way. If you're talking about a retrainer, an older learner, someone that wants to come out of, say, IT and go into some technical trade, I think we need to think out the box. So, yeah, it's a good point you raise there, and I probably agree with you on that one, Carly, that is probably the one we see the most, is how on earth are we going to do this as the older generation retire? Who's the people that are coming into the industry that don't want to be YouTubers, famous footballers, or influencers?
Yeah. And I think a key point is apprenticeship is 4 years generally. So it's not a quick trade to get into. It's a long slog, a lot of hard work, a lot of evidence gathering. There's a lot of exams and assessments that go on with it as well, and they're quite, I don't disrespect other trades, but these exams are quite difficult to pass. There's a lot of maths and physics involved in electricity, and that can be quite challenging for learners to, once they're on the path, they're like, oh, it's a bit too much maths involved in me. There's a lot of exams and assessments, so that could be a reason behind it as well. It's just to point out that if you are looking to get into electrical career, it's about 4 years, whichever path you go on that Steve mentioned. If you go, come out of a job and go through an evening course maybe, or retrainer, it's about 4 years to get fully qualified. So it's not a short path.
And leading on to that nicely would be obviously as women in an electrical world, historically a man's world. Let's be honest about it. Have you seen the progress in women coming to the industry? We talk about diversity, inclusion. What can we do more as an industry, and perhaps what are ECN already doing to sort of promote women into the electrical industry?
It's a great question. I think there's been sort of several initiatives and organisations that have been highlighting female electricians and engineers and professionals within the electrical industry, which has helped sort of to break down the stereotypes and show that women can be successful in sort of technically traditional male-dominated roles. Some electrical firms and training providers have made sort of real efforts for apprenticeships specifically targeted at women, introducing sort of diversity goals, which sort of include a higher percentage of women in training and leadership positions. But I think encouraging young girls to take interest in technical subjects like STEM and trades at school is like critical, paramount. I mean, school programs can be developed to provide hands-on workshops so girls can try electrical tasks and break down kind of the notion that these roles are only for boys. So it'd be great if more female electricians or engineers could visit schools and colleges to talk about their careers and highlight the benefits of a career in the electrical industry. I know if it'd been available when I was at school, I would have definitely sat up and listened. So
yeah, I think that's a great idea, actually, Kelly, to sort of, let's get these women that are in the industry out there installing electrical installations, renewables, whatever it may be. Let's put them front and centre of those. I mean, they're probably busy doing the day job, but I think, to see it actually works, would be a good way to go. I think that's really key. I mean, from my time, and I'm sure Andy can vouch for that, in education, and when we did have females in a group of apprentices, they were some of the brightest and best learners that, you know, they knew the end goal and where they wanted to get, and gone on to be very successful in the electrical industry. And I still see some of them on social media now. So, you know, they go on to make great designers. You know, they think a lot differently from us blokes sometimes, and they just, you know, the some of the science and principle stuff, I think would you agree, Andy? That
I was just about to jump in and echo your sentiments on that, because some of the female trainees that I've had during my time in education, they were top of the class, both in the classroom and practical. Whether because there was less of them in the classroom, and maybe they had to think, oh, I've got to prove that these data was wrong, or I want to beat the boys. Whether they got that mindset, I don't know. But yeah, I echo what Steve said. They were top performers. I was really impressed with them, you know. And I wish I had more of those learners in my class. To be fair, life would have been a lot easier.
There's definitely women coming through, but there needs to be more. I mean, I follow a few, Little Miss Electrical, and there's a company called Athena Electrical that literally is all women electricians, the whole company. So, you know, it is starting to happen, but more conversations need to be had, and just, you know, show women that it's there and it's doable.
Yeah, I suppose it'll bring us on to our next question. It's always a funny question when we ask this one. If you had to make a bold prediction where the electrical industry is heading in the next few years, I know that can be tricky sometimes, but where do you see it heading?
I think it's more about the contractors becoming more and more key players in implementing and managing distributed energy resources, solar panels, home batteries, microgrids, EV charging infrastructure. You know, as more businesses and communities go off the grid or shift to renewable sources, electrical professionals will need to be at the forefront of designing, installing, maintaining these systems, which means that they need to develop the new skill sets in areas like smart grid technology, battery storage systems, energy management software. I think we're probably more likely to see more collaboration between electrical contractors and tech companies to create smarter, more energy efficient solutions to help manage energy use in real time. So I think it's going to be a case of the electrical industry evolving from simply wiring buildings to becoming integral partners in the larger energy ecosystem, focusing on clean distributed energy systems and smart technology integration.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, Carly, and we've probably seen that as our organisation, because I think sadly lacking as this technology has advanced at a pace that hardly anyone can keep up with because it's manufacturer driven. The communication lines aren't there at the moment, and I think that connects between designers, installers, manufacturers, people that write the legislation, regulation standards. There needs to be a more collaborative approach to that, I think. So yeah, hopefully 2025 moving into up to carbon neutral, we'll get better at that. You know, we always seem to catch up on regulations, and like I say, product and manufacturing seems to drive that. Which is good, don't get me wrong, we don't want to stifle that, but yeah, I think you're right. I think we need to be better at just bringing that together. The installer is sometimes the lost voice in it all, from my experience, which isn't great, because they're the people putting this stuff in.
Yeah, I mean, the government has set a massive target of the new build housing, isn't it? You know, 1.5 million homes to be built over the next 5 years. And I think we was talking about it, wasn't we, Steve, the other day? It's over 300,000 houses a year to be built.
Where they all going to go?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You know, I don't think they've ever built anything close to that target in a calendar year previously. So we're going to need a workforce to do that. And that might be, like we said, apprenticeships and upskilling previous people as well, or might want a career change to hit that, because all these homes are going to have their renewable energies as well. So EV chargers, heat pumps, solar infrastructure as well. So there's a massive infrastructure going on. So yeah, I echo all what you've said there.
Yeah.
And I think just off the back of that, well, I mean, there's opportunity there, isn't there, as well, Kelly? You know, there's opportunity for contractors to jump on that, especially like Andy mentioned with the new builds, which we haven't had for many years.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, ECN sort of is a contractor magazine. It does what it says on the tin, obviously, but it's for people who are involved in commercial, residential and industrial projects. So, you know, I think if, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you work in any of those areas, you can congress over to the other. So if residential is going to be a big area, you know, with more house builders, you can obviously transfer your skills.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of doing. We used to call it house bashing back in the Midlands. I wasn't. I like the residential commercial stuff, because scrawling in a loft hatch that's full of insulation or chasing walls wasn't great. But on new builds, it's a bit easier. So yeah. That's great. Thanks for answering that. So where can our listeners and some of our watchers get hold of some more information from yourselves, understand who ECN are, the magazine? You got any other platforms they can go to?
Well, ECN magazine is published every month, and it's available for free as a printed magazine or a digital version that's available on our website, electricalcontractingnews.com. You can subscribe on the website to receive the printed magazine and the post for free, and you can also sign up for all our emails, which includes our weekly newsletter, which highlights all the latest industry news, important news in the sector. We're also on LinkedIn, Facebook, X and Instagram, so give us a follow on those. We also do our own podcast, and we're pleased that you guys will be joining us on one of those. And obviously, don't forget, we also organise the ECN Awards, which this year take place on the 27th of November at the same venue, the Heart of England Conference Event Centre in Coventry. Entries will be opening around April time, so obviously keep an eye out for that. And obviously we want you all to enter. But even if you're not entering, please do still come along. I mean, it's obviously it celebrates the industry with the awards ceremony, but it's so much more than that. I mean, it's a brilliant night with great food, entertainment, networking, and we can guarantee you won't experience a better after party. We genuinely have a full dance floor at the early hours of the morning. You guys can testify to that. So it's just a fantastic evening, so please come along. But yeah, we're available on all platforms, so download us for free.
Thanks for that, Kelly. So that's a wrap for this episode, everyone. I want to say a huge thank you to Kelly and Carly for coming on the show today. It's been really insightful stuff, and hopefully really useful for our members and the wider industry. So if you've enjoyed today's podcast, don't forget to subscribe, leave a view on whatever format you watch it on, Spotify, YouTube, other things are available. And until next time, we have to do this cheesy thing as we leave that Andy invented, right? But I've said to him, we need to make it up as we go along. So the usual one is, until next time, stay safe, stay grounded and keep the current flowing. But with the use of AI, I've got one. It says, stay energized and join us next time for more electrifying insights.
Oh, wow.
I love that. Thank you for having us, guys. It's been great.
Thanks, guys.
You.
No, thanks for coming on. Really enjoyed it today. Thank you.
Thank you.